Beautiful people, good morning, good morning. Obviously, tough one last week. I think our guys have done a good job just putting that game to bed, learn from the mistakes, looking forward to, finishing this thing the right way. I'll say this as a former player myself, you're not promised, a game on a week-to-week basis. So anytime you have an opportunity to go out there and just continue to put your best foot forward, you want to make sure you do so. So our guys are still excited about the opportunity that they have, and we're looking forward to a good week of practice and, finish this thing out the right way.
What do you make of that play by Arian getting down there and after Ross's punt, but pinning him down at the 7? After what he went through?
I think that was great. I think that kind of, again, embodies who he's growing into being. Everything we talked about, some of the rookie things that come with, coming into the NFL, being an offensive guy, now kind of exposing himself to some defensive qualities like tackling, getting off blocks. And you've seen steady growth with him on a consistent basis when you talk about a special teams perspective. So him making that play, I wasn't surprised. I don't believe he was surprised. I don't think a lot of people who are in our special teams room were surprised at all in regards to that. But so it was really, really good to see him put some of those things together. We talk about a lot of times him winning on the edge and making it a good play because he got down the field. But, how can we make it a great play? And that's by finishing, and he was able to do that.
What's the difference of playing gunner at this level compared to college?
One, just the grown men aspect of it. The double vice. There are a couple of different components that come with it. I mean, I really think the biggest difference is you're going against grown men. You're going against men who are trying to provide for their families within that. So just the mentality aspect of it, when you take that field, what guys are willing to do during that play, it's different at a whole nother level in college where I feel like guys kind of get through the down. Guys, as we've seen, have done this for, a decade plus in regards of feeding their family by what they do on the perimeter outside. So I think that's really the biggest thing that I would, kind of put my hands on when you talk about that. But yeah, it's been good to see him develop.
Marcus Jones is having a great year as a returner for the Patriots. What do you see from him, and what's going to be the key to slowing him down?
You see a confident guy back there. You see a guy who makes great decisions. You see a guy who's has a lot of dynamic ability. He trusted himself. The team trusted him, as you can tell. And all those things are good for them. But when you talk about slowing him down, it's really about just our process. The three phases we talk about when it comes to that, whether it's Mac delivering the ball, whether it's our guys getting out and spreading the net, just making sure we're on top of our our execution, our technique, and like I said, doing what we do.
Are you happy to be playing in the colder environment? What I mean by that is, a lot of times now, if you're playing in Jacksonville or you're playing in New Orleans, you're not getting an opportunity to return that much.
I wouldn't necessarily say we're happy about that, regardless of whether it's cold, hot, rainy, not, whatever. Hey, put the ball down, let's go play. We can't control a lot of the elements, the outside noise, whatever the case may be. But in terms of our process, our execution, our play style, those are things that we do feel like we can control and try to have positive impact with. So regardless of what the conditions are, we just want to put our best foot forward.
You and the Patriots are two of only three teams to return both the kickoff and the punt for a touchdown this season. How much pride do you have in just being one of those select few teams, but then also how much of an opportunity is it to go against another team that's in that small category?
There's definitely pride in our room in terms of doing what we do. I think the guys have shown that, and the guys continue to show that, and they look forward to the opportunity to go up against another group that, has kind of had the same type of mentality with that. But regardless of who it is we're going up against, we respect them all because it's the NFL, and we know, guys come to play on Sunday. But again, it's really about our process and doing what we do. So it'll be a good opportunity. They have a lot of good guys over there. They're coached very well. They play real hard. But we're looking forward to, having an opportunity to be us.
I know there are a lot of guys in this category who are stepping off for the year, but Stiggers, what has he meant to you guys from a special teams perspective? And now you coaching on the sideline, how much are you enjoying him getting an opportunity to play some defense?
It's been amazing. It's been he's meant a lot to us as a group in regards of what he does, what he brings on the field and off the field. How he's held himself accountable, how he holds other guys accountable, and it's really exciting to see him get his opportunity on the defensive side of the ball. And I've said this as a coach. I know obviously I'm a team's coach, but I want all of our guys in our room to sign $100 million contracts, playing the position that they probably go to bed dreaming about since they were little, catching touchdowns or catching interceptions, whatever the case may be. But at the same time, having the service mindset of it being bigger than you. And I think he's really embodied that because obviously he's getting his opportunity on the defensive side of the ball, but he's just as locked in special teams meetings, still giving guys pointers, still asking questions that not only make him better, but the group better. So he's meant a lot, and I think he's doing it the right way.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
Good.
Excellent. Well, a little bit off the game. I thought we did some good things. I thought we did some things well coming into the game Sunday. Unfortunately, we didn't get the win. But I was excited about the effort that the guys gave, the way they came out and played. Obviously, being able to get a takeaway on the first drive is huge. I know, obviously, we still haven't got an interception this year, which is kind of bizarre. Never been a part of it, but we're still working on that. But to come out and to take the ball away and get a forced fumble, I thought it was really good. This week coming up, we're getting ready, getting excited to play a tough New England team, well coached, but our guys are ready, definitely ready to go to work this week.
What was the process like for you calling plays? I mean, you did it in the preseason, but it was a little bit different in the regular season.
I think the operation went well. It went well. I had great support from our coaching staff, from AG. So the process of it went well. I felt good out there, being able to call the plays, getting ready, having to get used to touching the mic to communicate with Sherwood in the headset and those things. But getting that dust off, and I felt good about the process.
What can you take away from that first matchup with the Patriots in preparation for the game?
The Patriots, they're a very tough physical team, and that's something that we're going to have to match. We're going to match their physicality, their toughness, and display our brand of football. We did some good things in that game. We're going to have to get a little better down in the red zone, getting ready to play these guys. But our guys are definitely up for the challenge.
What have you thought of May so far this year? And also, why have they been able to continue to get the ball to Diggs whenever he knows he can fit?
Diggs is a really good football player. He's been a good football player in this league for a very long time. And May's a good quarterback. He's up and coming. He's a good young quarterback. He's accurate. He has very good mobility, so that's going to be a thing that we're going to definitely have to try to focus on and try to keep him in the pocket because he gets dangerous when he gets out of the pocket and he makes plays with his legs, running and to throw.
3 sacks last week. May is a quarterback that's been sacked a bunch of times, I think fourth most in the league. So what's going to be key to getting him down?
Having a great rush plan, having to collapse the pocket with our D-line, being able to get after him, collapse the pocket, kind of be sticky in coverage to allow our guys to get to the quarterback.
Malachi, are you tougher naturally on safety since you played the position? And what have you thought about his growth? He keeps on finding the ball late.
You would probably say I am. Malachi is he's continuing to grow. And so all we're asking for is growth every single week. And his maturation, he's coming about it. He has been around the ball. He was able to get that forced fumble this past week, which was huge for us. So he's still a young player, but he's still growing. And this playing time has really been helping him.
You mentioned Sherwood before. What was the communication like with him on Sunday? And he seemed to be like he was in a groove. He had the sack, and then he made that. He goes airborne and worked on stuff as well.
Sherwood's an ultimate pro. It's been fun to be around him. A guy that he takes ball seriously, as do all our players. But particularly Sherwood, interacting with him on a day-to-day basis, every play basis. He's a guy that's really in tune with the game, really locked in. He really studies the game. So it's been a pleasure working with Sherwood.
Along with Malachi, you have a couple of other younger guys playing in the secondary right now. What has it been like for them to get those reps, and what have you seen from them?
It's been good. You only get better. You only get better with experience. You get a ton of growth. And so hopefully we can just continue that growth from week 1 to week 2. I know we're in week 17, but of them playing, growth. So Jordan, Dean, they're doing good things for us, and so for them it's just to continue growing. Coach Bly's doing a great job with them along with Escalante. So just keep building those guys up, maturing.
This late in the season, facing a team that is Patriots going to the playoffs, clinched the playoffs last week. What kind of opportunity is that for you guys?
It's a great opportunity. Being a former player, I know you only get a certain amount of opportunities to play this game, and so you don't want to take any of them for granted. We get 17 opportunities, so nobody looks past anybody, them as well as us. So it's a great challenge for us, a great challenge for our guys, and they're definitely excited. We're excited to get to work this week and put a plan together to do all we can to stop them.
All right, good morning. How's everybody doing today? All right, happy holidays, Merry Christmas tomorrow. Just as far as we're concerned, right now, we have a brand of football that we're trying to play, that we've defined in this building with the offense, with the players, and we're looking to do that on a weekly basis, and that's something that we're continuing to improve upon. And practice and preach, and the guys are showing some resiliency in that. As far as last week in the production on the field and points, 6 points is just not going to cut it, and we all know that. And we can get better all around, and that ultimately starts with me. And so I got to make sure that I'm doing a good job, good enough job, getting these guys in position to make those plays and to get the points on the board. And that has been a big focus for us this week. As far as Brady goes, as a guy who's played a couple games now, he's kind of got his feet wet, and he's learning on the job, which has been really good. He's done some really nice things, and done some things that we definitely can improve upon, and we talk about that, and we work on that in practice, and I look forward to continuing to see his growth over the next this game and going forward. And then as far as who's coming in here, we got the Patriots, and again, a darn good football team that's going to present their own challenges as we see every week. But again, we're looking forward to playing one of the top teams in the division this week here at home.
When you say brand of football, are you talking about run game type of thing? Because I know you put up a lot of yards against Jacksonville, but the per carry hasn't been great.
Yeah. So what we talk about is having a physical, tough brand of football and being very detail-oriented. And I think you see that a lot of the times. We see the surge up front with the line displacing the line of scrimmage. That's a big thing for us that we're looking to find. And we're seeing that. We just got to see it with more consistency. And that's kind of one of the things that I talk about as far as the run game. And then in the pass game, that's got to play off of the run game with some of the actions and those types of things. And ultimately, we got to continue to do a better job of getting first downs on first and second downs and giving ourselves a little bit more at-bats at the plate so we can get a few more of those calls off the sheet.
When you talk about Brady, what are some of the points of emphasis? And I know he has mentioned the turnovers he's got to cut down on.
Yes.
What are some of the points of emphasis when you're dealing with him and what you're trying to get him to accomplish?
Absolutely. He just continuing to understand what we're trying to accomplish on every play, which I think he's actually done a pretty darn good job of, but then also understanding the things we can and can't do on every single play. Just for example, say on a 3rd and 15, we can't take a sack even if we're scrambling out of the pocket, and we just got to throw the ball away. Or if we see a hot, we got to get the ball out hot, and just some of those things and some of the situational football that we got to continue to improve upon.
When Aaron talks about sticking with him and there's things you can do to help him.
Yeah.
Like, what is that specifically? What can you do to help a young rookie quarterback who now everything's being thrown at him and different blitzes and everything?
Absolutely. It's my job to make it as, I don't want to say easy because nothing's easy in the NFL. And simple is not the right word either, but just something where he can operate at a high level and process what's going on so that he's not overthinking, if you will, too much at the snap.
How important is it for your group to capitalize on some of these sudden change situations like you had to take away early against the Saints, and then Sherwood made that play where he's giving you the ball?
Yeah. That was so good. So awesome of our defense to get that and put us in those situations on the plus side of the field. And we have to capitalize as an offense. Like 3 points isn't good enough in those situations. And again, that goes to us just getting out and staying efficient and staying in front of the chains. I think in a couple of those situations, we ended up getting into a 2nd and long situation and had a couple of batted balls on second down passes. And so, again, it just continuing to execute at a high level, I think, all the time. And then I got to make sure I'm giving them the right calls, too.
Mechie Mitchell, they had just been acquired the first time he played the Patriots. Can you talk about both of their
roles to this point?
Yeah, I know we've talked a little bit about both of those players over the last month or so. Just the growth with those players is, I think, their comfortability in the system and understanding what we're trying to accomplish and some of the finer details maybe in the routes that we're running and why we're running things, instead of just going, hey, we're running this route and I'm just doing this, but really starting to understand what maybe coverages we're trying to attack and those different types of things as they learn just the more of the why as opposed to what, I think, in the system.
Can you, one more on Brady, can you sense how important these games are for him? Because obviously, undrafted, and this is his opportunity to show himself.
Yeah.
And he really hasn't gotten off to the start he wanted. I know he's trying to do everything that's right for the team, but he also wants to prove he belongs in this league. Like, do you see that? Do you sense that from him?
I sense that Brady's going to put forth his best effort regardless, and he knows this is a great opportunity for him, just as it is for any of the other players out there, and they're always trying to put forth their best performance on a daily and weekly basis, and for the evaluation process. And I don't think he's necessarily putting more pressure on himself than he needs, or undue pressure. I think he's just looking to put himself in a position to seize the moment.
Isaiah Williams has been a great returner throughout the year. Can you speak about how you guys have been using him more each week offensively?
Yeah, it's been pretty cool to just continue to see his maturation and his growth as a receiver, learning to play that slot, and just, it's interesting. What really shows to me is, we all know he's not a huge person, in stature, but the level of physicality and detail that he plays with, I think that's what shows up on tape on the offensive side of the ball, and that to me is what's earned him more opportunities on offense. And he's also, as we know, he's an explosive player. He's got that quick burst of speed, and we had a couple of screens last week that were really nice. And that's on us as coaches to continue to try to put him in those positions. It's like, hey, get the ball to the punt returner,